Hello, and thank you for tuning in to the Flatirons Syndicate Motorsports Podcast. This show is brought to you by Flatirons Tuning, your source for any aftermarket or OEM Subaru parts. Be sure to check out our store at flatironstuning.com and stay tuned with Flatirons Tuning. Current school of thought is you want to pack the first 30 seconds as a highlight reel and also leave a lot of open-ended footage and questions, hooks, so that people will try and stay, at least for the first minute.
Okay, well, I'll do my part. $68,000 Subaru?
Yep.
Okay, what's your highlight?
Nah, we're talking about YouTube.
Right.
We're not talking about... I already did the intro, John.
Well, I need the sync clap.
Last. Welcome to episode 160. This is the OTC Racing Podcast.
With Flatirons Tuning and Money Shift Rally.
Yeah, that's a field promotion. That's what that is.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is back. This is opposite day. New cars are great.
Are they?
And they're affordable.
Okay.
Welcome
back, everybody, to the Flatirons Syndicate. The Silicate Podcast?
Flatirons Syndicate Podcast.
The Silicate Podcast. All right, so we're back in the shop. The topic that I threw out to the guys today was basically any new car that costs over $60,000 is totally irrelevant, and now all that we're left with pretty much are cars that cost $60,000 and more. Mm-hmm. Because they're just the number of new cars available that are under $60,000 is just getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
Because of millennials.
For many reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But we were talking, any kind of enthusiast car that an enthusiast could get excited about that's actually under $60,000. It's literally a handful. You got the BRZ, the Miata, got the WRX.
Miatas are great.
GR Corolla. 4-cylinder Supra. I think you can get into the base 6-cylinder Supra for under $60K, but just maybe. And I think they're killing that one off. Elantra N.
I think a Crosstrek should be in the conversation as a fun car.
Okay. All right.
It's the cheapest Subaru, right?
Crosstrek Wilderness with the 6-speed.
No, not a Wilderness.
The Wilderness gets up to the mid-30s. It's like 35, 36.
Yeah, that's not even
cheap.
Yeah, not leaving at that price.
What's a Camry TRD cost? Is that 45?
I want to say it's a little less than that, but maybe not that much.
Camry TRD. I hear it's fun. I haven't driven one.
I think the Crosstrek with a bigger motor and a manual, but otherwise not Wilderness. Can you still get the manual? I think you can still get the manual in the Crosstrek.
I think you can.
That, I think, is a good car.
All right, well, so...
That's the end of my podcast.
But there's not a whole lot there, and it feels like there used to be...
$60,000 is a goofy price shelf, right?
It isn't. I mean, for one, it feels like there used to be a lot more cars that were like a little bit more attainable, a lot more and better options.
$60,000 was a sweet, fast Euro. The last time I paid attention to what cars cost, which was the mid-2000s, probably. Because after that, I realized that they weren't going to make any more good cars, so why does it matter how much cars cost?
I would say within the last 10 years, that's where like the exciting offerings sub 60K has really dwindled.
Well, I mean, everything got more expensive.
Yeah.
The post-pandemic car prices are, 25% higher as a baseline.
And showing no signs of changing anytime soon.
I mean, that's not how inflation works. Prices don't go down once inflation chills out a bit. I mean, we were talking about this earlier. Car production slowed down in 2020, 2021, 2022.
Yeah. For myriad reasons.
Right, which means that used cars now have to be more expensive because most cars get sold used after 3 years because that's when they come off lease, right? So and at the same time, right now, all the automakers have decided they're going to make less cars and they're going to charge more for them and have a higher profit margin per car.
Well, what they realized in part with the chip shortage being that they only had a limited number of ECUs that they could produce, which meant that they only had a limited number of cars that they could produce. And they did the math and realized, well, we only use these limited ECUs to make the highest trim levels of cars, and so that was all that was available.
That's because the global chip supply was being repurposed for other things, right?
Right.
Okay.
Oh man. But so like there's a lot of changes that have happened through the car market and that have pushed the higher level trim levels of all the cars. The cars have gotten more expensive. The safety systems that cars are currently required to have and are about to be required to have are also increasing.
And automakers are all publicly traded companies, and they can't make stuff that doesn't make loads of money right away. GM has been going through this. Stellantis is in deep trouble and is also going through this. Well, that's why they just put a whole bunch of models on the chopping block because they didn't sell enough of them, and they didn't have enough profit margins.
Volkswagen is right there too.
Volkswagen,
supposedly they've got a couple of years to turn it around, or they're in some real dire straits.
And the interesting thing about that is that that's just everything is like that now. Companies can't sort of take longer to make money on something. They have to, any project, any models, any changes that they do to their business have to pay off.
Quarterly reports.
Yeah.
Otherwise, quarterly. Otherwise, the CEO gets fired.
And it's like we can't figure out everything has gotten significantly more expensive, and we have to charge significantly more, or we want to charge significantly more, but now nobody's buying them because it's significantly more, or much less people.
So I brought some cool stuff I have from the 80s and 90s because I like my old Subarus.
As an example.
So this is the window sticker that my 1992 SVX was sold with, and its delivered price was $30,000, which.
And what year
really
is this?
high.
This is $30,000 in 1992.
Which is, think about that. 1992, $30,000.
What were you doing in 92?
What was I doing in 92? I was in college, actually.
Damn, you're so old.
I know. I feel old.
I was soiling my diaper.
Yeah, I was 4 years old.
Yes, oh my gosh.
So what was I doing? Let's see. I tried to do a flip about that age.
I'm sorry, I was in high school. I was a sophomore in high school.
So $30,000 in 92 is over $68,000 now.
Yeah, right? Calculated for inflation.
Right. And Subaru sold 15,000 or so SVXs globally. They were all that. They didn't get much cheaper than that, even though they went to more
in
base
92,
models.
that was one for human on Earth, right?
15,000.
Was that in the American market in 92, or was that over the total production?
Over 5 years, because they sold them up through 97.
Yeah.
And that was globally. And, that's the sort of thing that would get the CEO of Subaru fired today. If they only sold 15,000 of an extremely expensive car over a few years. Because the thing about the SVX is it was probably extremely expensive to build and develop, right?
Yeah, and it was totally different. The crazy thing is you look at because you've got the flyer of all of the Subaru models from roughly that year.
This is 98. This is 1988, but they still had most of these models in 92. So this is the Justy, the Leon or Loyal sedans, 3 doors, the wagons.
The Legacy had just come out.
The
Impreza did not exist.
The Justy advertised 70 foot-pounds of passing power in there.
Wow.
Yeah, but so
the 90s were a weird time.
Yeah,
it was a weird time.
Right.
It is another as a point of comparison for the SVX, the NSX. So the first year the NSX was 91. It sold through 2005, and in that entire production run, global production of the NSX was about, I want to say, 15,000 units. It's about the same. By the end, though, they were going for over $100,000. But at the beginning, I want to say the first
$100,000 in
2004, 2005.
Yeah. Which was at that point,
it was
that same benchmark for myself. $60,000 should get you a fast Euro. $100,000 is supercar or above, right?
Yeah, right.
That's my, and still to this day, my mental kind of framework sits in those kind of parameters. Because I was recently looking at getting a new truck, and really quickly you're at $95,000.
Yeah,
and I'm like, this is Ferrari territory, surely, right?
Yep.
This is ridiculous. Does it come with a Lamborghini in the bed? I don't know what. This is unacceptable.
Well, and part of my motivation, part of what got this topic on my mind is there's some car review channels that I like to watch. One of my favorites is Throttle House. The guys at Smoking Tire do an awesome job. And I realize you start looking at all these videos that they're coming out with and the cars that they're talking about, the base price on many of these videos is like 80 grand, and it just goes up from there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And a lot of this,
a lot of people ask me what car, because I'm like the car person in many of my groups of friends or my family. And so, what car should I get, Tasso? And it's like, I don't know, get a Subaru. It's fine. Like if you need if you live in Colorado or somewhere in the hills, you need some kind of 4-wheel drive. And a lot of people don't need it, even though they have it. So just get a Subaru, because I think it's remarkable to get a decent car for half the price of the next company's decent car with twice as many wheels that spin.
Yeah.
And it's
are driven.
Are driven, whatever, you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
And it's that frequently, like, my wife Abby asked me, like, can I get a cooler car? Right? She was in a Crosstrek. She's now in a Forester. Can I get a cooler car? And like, yeah, absolutely. Let's sit down. Let's look at the numbers. Let's look at what cars are out there, what's available. And at the end of the day, a couple times now is why we have a Forester now. It's come down to, well, shit, I guess there's no cooler car.
Yeah.
And so
unless you want to pay like significant.
Yeah, all right. And having, we live at 9,000 feet, and it's gonna, it's, what is it now? November 12th, something like that. Yeah. We're gonna have snow on the ground or where we live until May, right? So we know we need some sort of mountain-friendly car and stuff like that. So that takes out like Miatas, which would otherwise be the answer.
Yeah.
As always.
Sure.
Jeremy wants to get a Solara.
Solara.
Nope. Yeah. Yep. Just let that sink in for a solid two beats here.
Okay.
Every spring.
No, hold on.
Toyota?
Jeremy wants to get a Solara.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Now let's talk about it.
Every spring, I feel like I want a convertible or a roadster or something like that.
Okay.
Nothing wrong with that statement.
Yeah.
It's the Solara where it blows
so
apart.
I've done the Miata thing enough at this point that So what happens is I've bought a Miata.
I was gonna say you have a Miata.
And then I get rid of the Miata because I don't like it.
Yeah.
Miatas are miserable cars.
So you're like, yeah, maybe a Solara. This may be the answer.
And part of it is also it's such a whim that I'm not going to actually spend money on it. I'm going to find something for under $5,000 that probably doesn't need that much work. And you know what? I haven't tried a Solara yet. I'm going to try a Solara.
Okay. Well, and the advantage of that too is like it's not it's something you will like to drive with the top down, but you'll probably not be tempted at all to tinker with in any way, shape, or form.
Nope, I don't think that's probably true. Well, you probably have plans for tinkering with it right now.
Well, they're 2G, so they got 2 GR-V6s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And there are various manual transmissions that Toyota makes that goes in them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
No, converting to manual,
I don't know. Well, I don't know. On the other hand, I've also driven like V6 Camrys of that era, like the 2000,
which is a great car,
to 2008.
A V6 Camry makes sense. I understand that statement.
So it's basically a Solara is a V6 Camry without a top, with a
retractable
without a roof. Yeah.
Yes. Basically.
Basically, sure, yeah. Yeah, Miata's for Ferrari with a top. I get it. Yeah.
I mean, it's 6 cylinders. If it was an 8-cylinder, basically it'd be a Ferrari.
Yeah, basically. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Well, anyway.
All right. Well, but so it just seems like if you're a car enthusiast, we're getting squeezed out of having anything exciting, and or like the price point that we're forced to look at is just like so astronomically high that the chances of many of us mere mortals actually being able to afford these cars.
We just talked about this last week. So in the YouTube comments from last week, I don't remember your name, but a honest to God, genuine IT professional said, I still have my WRX.
Yeah.
So,
good.
But, I mean, Audi.
Yeah.
Again, that's what you're supposed to have if you're an enthusiast, right?
Well, I mean, we're being squeezed into that direction.
But a current era, no, like an older one, but not.
Well, we're talking about new cars.
Yeah, I don't think. Would you want a new Audi right now?
You can go buy a 2024 WRX for substantially less than $60,000.
Mm-hmm. That's what I mean. Subaru is the...
Our project car, I want to say sticker on that was 33.5, 34.
Wow.
Yeah, because it's the base model.
Yeah.
But, I mean...
I think are you wowing because it's expensive
no,
or wowing
cheap.
because cheap? Oh, yeah, cheap.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
really cheap.
Yeah.
Shit.
So...
For what you get for $33,000 for a base model WRX, and the weird part of it, there not being an STI, and that like there's some changes. The biggest changes are in the interior, and then the brakes,
Oh, between the different trim levels, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no STI trim.
But the difference between like the TR, the TS, and then the standard base model, I mean, you can have a car that is like 80%, 85% as much fun, maybe even 90% as much fun, for like $8,000 to $10,000 less than the fancy one. And that's why we got the one that we did, because we're just gonna tinker with it and play with it. Do we need to spend all of that extra money for some of the things?
The TR was always tuner ready, right? Is it still like a properly stripped one now?
They're now calling it track ready instead of tuner ready.
Tuner ready was the Uber base model.
Tuner ready, that was the 2006, 2007.
Which were super cool because they're a stripped WRXs essentially, right?
Yep.
Is it still a stripped WRX or is it now just
it's
appearance package?
Right.
Oh, it's an upgrade package?
It's an upgrade package. It's got Brembos and it's got Recaros.
Fancy interior, yeah.
Oh, well, that's the opposite.
I think it has a sunroof.
Yeah. Oh, that's the opposite.
Yeah.
Well, that's why it's tracked.
Sunroofs.
In 2006, 2007, the TR didn't have the sunroof.
You don't go on
I
track
hate sunroofs.
You don't go on track with your sunroof open?
Yeah, nothing ruins a car for me more than a sunroof. It's honest, like E36 M3s, so did they all come with sunroofs, or most of them came with sunroofs?
Mine didn't, I don't think.
I know a lot of people slick top convert them,
I don't remember.
or they have to put the panel in to compete with them and stuff like that. And it's honestly, sunroofs are...
In my SVX, the sunroof cost you another $3,000
to make a worse car.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I now own a WRX Limited, technically.
Okay. So why?
Which is a sunroof car.
Why are cars more than $60,000? Because most cars are SUVs.
That's right.
Yeah.
You can get two sick-ass WRXs for the prices of a Tahoe.
Yeah.
And what's that Tahoe going to do for you? That's probably got cooled seats, I guess, right?
Oh, it's got cooled seats all around.
Yeah.
It's got three air conditioners. You got front air conditioner, you got middle air
its
conditioner,
own
you got
spot,
rear air conditioner.
like...
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, you can actually, like, you don't need a tent if you're going to go car camping. You just can't.
If you think about it in terms of a place to live, it's actually pretty cheap.
That's true. That is true.
It's a really cheap house. Because otherwise, what the median house price is in this area,
do they
like
have
$1
the
million.
kitchen option in the Tahoe yet, where you can just get the back instead of the back?
Nobody cooks anymore. It's 2024. Just get Grubhub.
But the GR Corolla comes with a built-in gasoline stove under the hood.
Really?
Nice.
Yeah,
that seems like a nice feature.
It's called
keep you warm.
Causes it catch on fire.
Exactly. Yes.
It only works like once, and then you got to get a new gas stove.
Well, I mean, but that one time. I mean, that's something.
And you have to drive over 88 miles per hour to activate it.
Interesting.
Is this a Back to the Future?
That's
Back to the Future reference?
Kind of. It's also because Toyota's in their owner manual says don't drive this car fast, otherwise it might catch on fire.
Oh man, that's because they're fine with that. Yeah. Oh boy.
But that's real talk. It's like freaking SUVs ate the car market, including the performance car market. Like I think I knew it was all over in this regard.
Well,
I knew it was all over in this regard when I started seeing actual gearhead motorsport people dailying like an X6M.
Yeah,
sure.
That's got like tires that are this wide because to actually have track performance as an SUV, you need tires that are this wide.
Is BMW still making good M cars?
It's been
a while since I looked at BMW stuff.
They keep pretending like the manual's going away and then it comes back in the M3.
They're fast. They've gotten heavy. They're
well, they all are, right? What's the new WRX weigh? What's your shop car weigh?
It's supposed to be right about 3,400.
Ugh,
I know.
So big.
I know.
I know it's light compared to
but the new
everything.
BMWs and stuff are like 4,000 pounds.
Yeah, the Hellcats comes with a
Like
fucking
7,000?
CDL Class B. So,
Yeah. You
Not
know,
for
when
hire
your sports
on the side
car
of your
comes with a
Hellcat.
warning, the gravity of this car might actually attract smaller vehicles.
I mean, technically, all of the cars are attracting all the other cars. If we want to get serious about this,
Is that why the Hellcats end up sliding into things so much?
Welcome to the Flatirons Syndicate Physics Podcast, where gravity is pretty cool as a force.
It is.
Cars are too expensive, and I just don't care.
You would need a lot more wheels on cars if gravity wasn't working so consistently. Because when the car like randomly flipped over on its roof, you would need wheels on the other side.
I was wondering.
Yeah.
I was like, this isn't really on topic anymore, but I'm curious to see where you want to put these wheels. On the roof. Okay.
On the roof. Okay.
No. Well. Okay.
Well, but it wouldn't flip because if the gravity was less, you'd hit a bump and the car would just keep going.
A weak force, as it were.
Yeah.
So,
Flatirons Tuning Physics Pun Podcast.
The funny thing is you can't get a Subaru up to 60K these days, right? You can't. An Ascent.
No way.
No, an Ascent.
Are the Wildernesses not there?
No, they're not.
No,
they're not.
The Outback Wilderness tops out. I want to say mid 40s, high 40s, 48.
Yeah, and the Wilderness is still lower trim than the Tourings. So an Ascent Touring is like 55 or something. Like
What's this Solterra?
55, 56.
Is it?
But they've heavily discounted them at this point.
But is it 55 with like incentives, like government incentives and stuff like that?
It's not eligible for anything unless you lease it.
Unless you lease it, yeah. So if you by the way, PSA, if you're buying a Solterra, you're throwing your money away. If you're leasing it, however, you did good.
Yes,
it was a good car too.
As long as it's still all in place
until the end of the year, actually.
Probably.
Right? No, definitely. I think that program goes out. Yeah.
I think the lease loophole is probably going to go away at the first of the year because they didn't intend that to be a loophole.
So why'd you get a Model 3?
What, did I get a Model 3?
Mm-hmm.
Because it had performance in the name?
Well, yeah. Because it's fantastic.
It has road gripping all-wheel drive?
It does.
Is that why?
It does.
Is it symmetrical?
It's a sled.
Maybe?
They call those sleds, don't they? When they have the wheels in the front and the back. Oh, skateboard. Sorry.
Skateboard.
Yeah,
that's a pretty common like EV chassis construction technique, right?
The reason that I got the Model 3 is because for what it offered, when you factor in the tax incentives, which because it qualified for everything, and here in Colorado it got an extra $5,000 tax incentive. It was like low 40s. Like I think after all incentives is like 42. And like the performance and the driving experience of it is wild. And the other thing is the big driving thing for me was it was different. I mean, I have a WRX. I played around with figuring stuff out on my car, on the race car, on the relic.
Drive your WRX more.
That is the plan.
Mm-hmm.
That the plan is going to start to become in motion here in a couple of weeks.
We're going to do a timing belt on your WRX, and it's going to need a new timing belt by the time you drive it again.
That's true. That's why I haven't done it yet, because I figure by the time I bring it into the timing belt, foreshadowing here. But yes, so timing belt is going to. I think it not. Actually, I think next week is when we're.
Did it just get so old it crumbled?
Basically, yes. Yeah. So the timing belt on my WRX, the kit is so old that it's actually a Gates kit, but it's from back when Gates was good and was using the Koyo, the NTN.
Back when they were using the Gates factory in Denver before they shut it down.
That's right. So I think it's 11 years since I put the engine in and the timing belt, and so it's completely shifted. And one of the bearings is failing, so it's making horrible bearing.
Because it's the good Gates kit. One of the bearings is failing.
Yes, because for a long time Gates was the good stuff. Because they were using all of the OEM equivalent bearings, and then when they switched away from that and moved to alternate manufacturers with much less quality control, that's when they started to get bad, and that's where they've been ever since. But yeah, so that's how old the kit is,
and that's why you got a Model 3.
That's why I got a Model 3.
So you can do a timing belt on your WRX.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Not exactly.
No, I get it. I'm talking Papa split. I'm following here.
But I mean bring the EVs into it. I mean, that's the other conundrum here is that, so with gasoline cars, because of, fuel economy standards, emission standards, and then the safety standards that they are going to have to meet, gasoline-powered cars are only going to continue to get more expensive. What I'm thinking about here is the new 911
I disagree.
Hybrid.
Gasoline-powered cars have to get more expensive because every single automaker loses a ton of money on EV production. Every single EV is a loss leader. They're not making money on any of them.
That's not entirely true.
And no,
Teslas are profitable. Tesla has been profitable for a handful of years.
I'm sorry. Every company that
every conventional automaker.
Every conventional automaker. Yeah, exactly. Yes. Every automaker that's newer than
the vertically integrated EV manufacturers like Tesla, and really kind of Tesla's the one at this point. I think Rivian, if they can, Rivian has a chance.
Rivian is not profitable, not even close.
Not yet because they haven't made a vehicle.
Rivian makes loses $10,000 to $15,000 per truck, don't they? Isn't that the number that was floating around? Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it is.
And ironically, because they start at like $80,000 and up, so they can't sell them in volume. So like their annual sales are something like 8,000 to 9,000 vehicles per year. But now the R2, their plan with the R2 is that's going to be a $40,000 vehicle. So if they can get to that point where all of a sudden this is an electric SUV that's it falls under the $60,000 price point, it's going to be more attainable. And then the R3 is going to be smaller and less expensive again. Yeah. So there's a possibility there.
Sure. But why does Stellantis exist? Why did Fiat Chrysler and Peugeot merge? Is because, among other things, we're like, well, we have to devote all this money to building EVs. We might as well share the costs, right, across the industry some more. But that still hasn't panned out because none of the EVs have really sold. I mean, actually, Stellantis does pretty well because they have that electric Jeep that everybody likes, right?
Yeah.
There's a surprising amount of those on the road.
Yeah. It's a tough nut to crack.
I mean, here, anyway.
I think in part is because it's entirely different.
Yeah.
It's like you have to... Nothing, very, very little of what they know and the processes that they use to make a combustion engine vehicle translates into making an electric vehicle. There are definitely some advantages, I think, that regular conventional manufacturers have over the startups because they have learned a lot of some of the lessons about quality control, product support, and then you also have the dealer infrastructure to support vehicles that like the startups do not have, and that the startups like Tesla notoriously has been notoriously bagged on their quality control, all those sorts of things. They're getting better, but
to drag us back slightly to the original topic. I mean, interest rates are still kind of cruddy for new cars. That's not just because of whatever macroeconomic forces. That's also because car dealerships and all the companies the banks that issue car loans all made really bad decisions in terms of the long-term effects of the industry. Because think of all the used cars that went way up in price. So people were, spending $40,000 on a, like 2013 Mustang or something like that. Those loans are upside down, which means that the actual financial industry that loans money for car purchases is upside down and can't afford to give competitive interest rates anymore. I mean, dealer incentives are, dealers have to so heavily incentivize EVs, and in general, they just don't have as much money to play with, and the automakers don't have as much money to play with in that regard, so that everything, it's hard to get a good loan term on a vehicle, even with excellent credit. But even so, they're also loaning money for way longer, 72 months, some cases 96.
It's great. It's getting crazy.
My camper is financed for 12 years.
Well, it's a camper, though.
I don't know, but it's just when they offered 12-year financing for it, I don't know. In my brain, I thought to myself, this is basically a free camper. Really all I'm doing is renting it, right?
There is this thing that happens when you go to buy a car at a dealership and, have some experience with this, that all they want to talk to you about is what you're paying per month, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Now, if you're...
Because that's what matters to people, right? And this is arguably sort of the same thing. The company is in the same problem as it's, buying a hamburger today paying Tuesday for a hamburger today or whatever, right? Like you're sacrificing your future for immediate whatever it is, whether it's quarterly reports or monthly payment.
And this ties into the cars have gotten so much more expensive. If most people have a very good concept of what their monthly income is. They know what their available spend is in a month if they're looking at a new car.
I don't think people have that. I don't think people have that. Most people I know maybe know how much they're going to make a week.
They know how much a paycheck is, though. If you're getting paid every other week or whatever, like that, you know what a paycheck is. They're familiar with
the paychecks that they get in a month. So that's where the monthly cost of a new vehicle, this fits underneath what I have, or this is more than what I have, and that's probably where all these longer terms are coming from.
Right, and that's the thing. I guess I was going through that because it was like, I mean, I could swing some money toward a payment and buy something new if I wanted to, but There's nothing I want to do that for.
Well, and
that I can afford anyway.
And like
even with
it's so I've never had a new car before. So the Tesla is the first new vehicle I've ever had. There have been many moments these first few months of ownership of just like, what did I do?
Oh no!
You know, I mean, it's just like holy crap. Like it's I mean, we've bought cars that we had loans on in the family before, but this is the first new one. And I did the math and I was like, I think this is going to work. And now here we are. I'm like, wow.
Immediate depreciation kind of catches you, huh?
Well, it's like I've never had to put plates on a new car. I was not prepared for what the expense was.
Oh yeah, sure. Well, that's like, a Colorado specific thing. Most states don't do that.
That was like this extra shock that I just didn't even think about.
New vehicle taxes.
Yeah.
That's why I live in Gilpin.
Yeah. I mean, all is well, but it's just like, there's a lot to buying new cars, and you make those new cars more expensive.
All is well. Were you worried that people were like, John, do you need money?
No, I'm okay. But
your kids, though.
So
maybe not going to college now. I don't know,
So if you're going to go get a new car and take on the financial take on the payment, fine, okay, you can afford it.
But if it's not exciting, why would you do it?
Right, that's the thing. The way I look at it is it'd be stressful.
Yeah. Take as a use case. This is something that just came up literally for me a week or two ago. I have a 3rd gen Cummins Ram. For completely unknown reasons. Stuff's starting to go wrong on it more recently. Some of it's my own fault.
For the uninitiated, again,
cars.
tell us what year 3rd gen Ram is.
Doesn't matter.
They know. They're listening to the podcast. Everyone knows the Cummins generations. So 89 and 93 is 1st gen, 94 to 97 is 2nd, said 97 was where they went electric. To 02 is 2nd gen Rams. Okay. 03 to, it doesn't really matter because the 4th gen Rams aren't really Rams anymore. So this is an 03. It's the first of the 3rd gen Rams. It's the first of the common rail trucks and stuff like that. We can go into Dodge stuff. I don't have my Cummins belt buckle on at the moment, but I do have a Cummins belt buckle.
We should wait till you got the belt buckle.
I wore the belt buckle out. That's how into Cummins I am.
Wow.
It's a big deal. No big deal. So anyways, it's an old... The motors are good. I mean, I don't know. Everyone knows that Cummins is the best. But Dodge trucks suck. And they always have. They've always been the ugliest, the most worn out
trucks.
But, it's just, they're a Chrysler product. What are you gonna, or they were at least a Chrysler product. What are you going to do? But so anyways.
Is it the owner that makes the truck or the truck that makes the owner?
It's like a dog and an owner, right? You just kind of morph towards each other.
Yeah,
it's a combination of lifestyle things and environment and nature and nurture. We end up just becoming mind melded with our trucks. We're in the drift.
And the truck kicks you, right? Because you're the dog in the equation.
Yeah, the truck kicks quite a bit. And I just try and keep it fed and happy, but whatever. The point of the whole conversation here is it's got 300,000 miles. It's a Chrysler product. There's not a plastic piece in that truck that doesn't like shake and squeak and rattle, and now everything is a little bit broken. It's a Dodge product. It's fine. It's fine.
It's a feature, not a bug.
No, it's a bug. But it's acceptable. But look at getting a new one, right? And so I currently have a short bed truck. It's my only short bed truck I've ever owned, and I kind of wish I didn't. So there's some things, the age of the truck, I wish I had a long bed, yada, yada, yada. It's starting to, there was a little string there a month or two ago where like every week there was some other random thing wrong. It was never a big deal, but it's stuff like, fuel filter was way more clogged than I gave it credit for. And those, the early 3rd gens have a lift pump issue, or the lift pump's in a horrible spot, and so it goes. The radiator cap, the radiator itself cracked. The heater core went out inside the truck, which is fun to pull the whole dash out of the truck. So like just random shit goes wrong with these trucks now, especially as you start to get up in the miles, and who runs the fucking electrolytically stable coolant? Not a real American.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, Trump's president. I don't have to run communist coolant. anyways, Abby's like, we should get a new truck. I mean, you always talked about how you got to stay in the old, like it's a pre-emissions truck even. I don't have a diesel particulate filter, no exhaust fluid. It doesn't even have a cat. The truck didn't come with a cat. By 05 or so, I think the third gens were coming with cats, but the 03 didn't. So yeah, it's a pre-emissions truck. It is electronic, right? It's got common rails, CP3, all that kind of fucking good stuff. I'm saying a lot of F-bombs here. I don't know if the explicit E is there up yet.
CP3 is a swear word in the Dodge community, actually.
Oh, why? CP3 is good. The VP44 was the junk ass one.
Which
in the late second gens, where they would the lift pump goes and it takes out the injection pump.
Oh, it's the one after CP4. That might be the one.
I don't know. I would assume they're all in CP3s still. I don't know. Most of the trucks were in CP3s. Like by the time you get to the common rail, Duralasts or Durexes or whatever they're called, and the power chokes. They're all in common rail pumps nowadays.
Okay, so you're looking for
the point is we're looking at. Yeah, sorry. Okay. Oh man, hopefully that was entertaining for you because it was entertaining for me to go through in my own brain. I have ADHD. I just recently self-diagnosed. That's not really an inside joke.
Is that why your truck's broken all the time?
It might have. In hindsight,
could be related.
It could be related.
Yeah. Okay.
When I got the truck, it had 160,000 miles on it. It had a notebook of every service that had ever happened in it. It's got 300,000 miles now, and I don't even know where that notebook is. It's not an inattention to detail. It's just that there's a lot of details to pay attention to in the world. So why bother with the lame ones? Yeah. What were we so anyways,
new truck.
I bought the truck for $10,000. It had 160,000 miles. It's maybe not as reliable, 300, and it's fine. I still have the truck. After a couple of weeks of pain in the acidness, I'm back to not planning on replacing it. But nonetheless, for a minute there, I was like, shit, man.
This thing's got to go.
Let's look at getting a new truck. And this guy, I decided to approach this like with a true like use case study. Like, what do I actually need this to do? And it was honestly stuff like can be sleepable in or tow sleepability and also have car pulling or car in ability, right? So I don't care if I get a car hauler that pulls a sleeper trailer for like going to races or a truck that can carry a camper or a van with a live-in conversion and that pulls or whatever. So I was specking out sprinters with dualies and stuff like that and doing the math on like car trailer and what a sprinter's gross combined is versus its advertised tow rating, which is actually a big joke, and people should look at that more closely because their advertised tow rating is not that high once you take in like the gross combined rating for the vehicle and stuff like that. And I hate running stuff anywhere near its max ratings because those are marketing terms, not engineering qualifications, right?
That's when things start to break.
What's that?
That's when things start to break.
That's when things start to break, right? Yeah. You figure your vehicle reliably tows for about half of what it's rated for safely in the hills. And so like there's always been a thing too, like I used to drive trucks for a living, so I don't mind 18 speeds are not a big deal to me, but my wife can't drive those things. So whatever this vehicle is, if I knock my head like has happened, if you're not hanging your shifter, you're not really trucking. Visor all the way down, never seen a stoplight.
Seat on the floor.
Seat on the floor. You guys know what I'm saying. Ironically, though, the big rig guys don't like Cumminses. So in a big rig, I'll take a cat.
Oh boy.
Just a big
Back
cat.
to the new truck.
Big cat.
To the new truck.
You sleep in those too.
Perfect. Yeah. No, honestly, I've looked at getting a semi truck and making some money on the side too. I have a day job.
It would be great to get that up your driveway.
No, I would park it in town. Trust me, I have done the full business plan for picking up a semi truck for race hauling, but also working on the side and stuff like that. But I've gotten a head injury at a race, and Abby's had to drive us home. And that's part of this whole thing. Is like it is a dangerous sport at the end of the day, and I want to be able to have not just Abby, but anybody who may be less experienced hop in the truck in its full weight configuration. So sleepability and car hauling ability, spares, tools, all that kind of stuff. And be able to drive it home over I-70, over the passes, and not die, right? Not burn brakes, stuff like that. And I can just do that with the current. I should get an exhaust brake. But currently I can kind of do that. The new trucks have integrated exhaust brakes, right? They're very slick about stuff like that. Yep. But that puts me into modern turbo diesel to get back around to getting a new truck, right? So we're looking at modern turbo diesel prices. $95,000
Yeah.
That is too much. And even, so yeah, we were looking at used ones, a couple years used, 40,000 miles, $60,000 vehicle still.
Yeah.
And the problem, almost the biggest problem here, is that $60,000, we could afford it. And
but
that
how much of that race car budget?
Yeah, right. And the reason I say that's kind of a problem is like, if you take a really expensive thing and then make a good consuming American able to afford it at the expense of their financial viability long term,
they're gonna do it.
They're gonna do it, right?
It's appealing. It's appealing.
That was the stat that I stumped you guys with earlier.
The amount of auto debt.
The
in America,
sum total of auto loan debt in the United States is $1.5 trillion.
Yeah,
which is a lot.
Yes. And as Tasso pointed out, there's 330 million Americans, and not all of them own cars.
Yeah.
So some of those individual Americans probably have a lot of auto debt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to bring this around to a new level, so the other thing that I've been thinking about that's related to this is, the whole idea of built versus bought. Right? For a long time, there was this, especially in the Subaru community and a lot of these import communities, you don't just go out there and buy some halo car. You don't just buy the GTR or the 911 Turbo. You buy something else and you kind of turn it into the car that you want to do it. You're going to build the car that you want instead of just go out there and just buy the thing. And it seems like it was really tapering down for a while. And with green speed and all these changes now, that has changed the equation a fair amount because the ability to do that is less than it once was.
So green speed is just a corrupt plan to get people to buy more expensive cars. I think it's true. It's a good point.
Wow.
You said it. I'm just
Did
hearing what you're saying. Yep.
I'm not sure that's what it is.
Yeah, tear the system down. I get it.
Let me get to the end of the point, though, which is that you start looking at the price of these cars if you're going to go out there and buy something new or even just a couple of years old. Man, getting something for $3,000, $5,000, $7,000, $10,000, and then putting maybe another $5,000 into it to make it, start building it in the direction that you want, if that's possible.
What do you get? Okay, you got $10,000 and then $5,000. What are you getting? $10,000 to make a purchase, $5,000 to fix it up.
So it's actually, I was thinking that just
a Solara. I get it. Okay.
Solara.
No. A friend of mine wanted to buy a Crosstrek and trade in her older Outback. Was kind of falling apart because it's New Jersey, and a 2009 Outback into 2024 has been reclaimed by the earth.
All the holes are in the floor.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when she was shopping around, my advice was, budget $12,000 for a car and another $3,000 for the maintenance you're going to do to it in the first year.
Sure. Sure.
Because used cars are still expensive. So even $12,000 for a Crosstrek from a dealership was still close to 100,000 miles.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And so three. Hopefully not $5,000 to fix it up. $5,000 is
We're in fun space here because talking about the finances.
So obviously it's motors blown.
I don't even want to listen to our podcast about this. So $10,000 car, $5,000 upgrades for it. What are you getting?
You can get a GR for $10,000.
Yeah, but then you have a GR.
Yeah, and you can spend the $5,000 on all the things you need to fix.
You can spend the $5,000 getting a GD. I get it. Yeah, I get it. Yep.
Spend the $5,000 on the GD and then spend $10,000.
Are GDs back to $5,000 again? I thought they were higher than that.
Well,
it depends. Yeah, the condition.
Yeah. Right. I know several sub $5,000 GDs that if anybody wants to hit me up, we'll make you a deal.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
I was going to make a pretty bold statement. I pulled it back. Never mind.
Nice Hawkeye STIs are still $25,000.
Yeah. Well, okay. So one popped up on Bring a Trailer had 6 or 9 miles on it, and it went for $1.5 billion.
Yeah, I don't even mean that. I mean nice ones, because if you're gonna go out and buy,
budget $20,000 for a clean GD.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. But
for a clean, yeah.
But I bet for $10,000 you get a caged race car going.
Yeah.
Don't complain to me about cost of entry. Just don't be
hoity-toity. What are you doing with it?
Gravel car.
Well, yeah. You could probably
not including your helmet and suit.
I want to say I've seen some rally cars, fully built caged rally cars that were popping up on Facebook Marketplace or some of the rally boards for
15 to 20.
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually, like a little out of date logbook or safety, you gotta update
it's
that.
been out of competition for like 3-5 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, usually it's stuff like belts. You gotta replace. The cage design has been pretty stable for the last
for better or for
15
worse.
years or so.
Yeah. Well, I guess I didn't have a list of cars that I would get for that, but it seems like it makes like if I had an older car and I was contemplating like doing some work on it versus getting a new car, it's all of a sudden more appealing to like keep that old car, keep the old truck, go through it than get the new.
You know what's messed up is even like so in keeping the truck, and this is something I was thinking about because at 300,000 miles the transmission it's an auto truck, which I got for convenience. Whatever, it's also a short bed. I get it. Trust me, you're preaching to the choir. I'm yelling at myself right now.
Just put it in the comments below again.
Yeah, please tell me how stupid I was to get an auto short bed 3rd gen. Anyways, I've never owned an automatic transmission other than this truck, for what it's worth.
Wow.
Let me think about that. I had a Volvo that was auto. It was a turboed Volvo. It was sick, though. Anyways, that's beside the point. Even before all this stuff and looking at getting a new truck, I was looking at, okay, take that same, use case, yada, 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 coming downhill, safer, someone less experienced driving the truck, exhaust brake, having true control of, like, torque converter lockup, and then where that cascades to is, like, a lot of the torque converter lockup schemes in the factory transmission programming for those Dodge is about limiting torque in potential high torque situations to not snap an input shaft. So looking at a transmission with increased line pressure, a better valve body, a billet input shaft, exhaust brake, not including which I wish I could afford to do at some point in my life, paying someone else to put that all on the truck for me. Or now we're back into financing territory, and I'm like, oh man, when that little affirm financing button pops up there on your check cart, and you're like 0%, hell yeah, click, I forget who it was, Trump Daddy or something like that said never use your own money if you can afford it. Yeah, sure, right? But now I'm financing cool ass Band-Aids for my cool ass wound out there. But I don't know what I'm doing with my life. I don't know. The answer to I guess this whole podcast is
we forgot something really important.
Math is hard.
This is not financial advice.
This is not,
Yeah, right.
Well, I am getting... sue me, I dare you. Are you going to take my old shitty truck? Oh, Jesus. Who are you going to come after here?
Oh, man.
So, trucks and SUVs are too expensive, and that includes the stupid stuff that you can get like
But Subarus are still affordable.
Yeah. But we didn't even get to finish this point, but the Ascent is not expensive, even though it's expensive, right? Kind of.
For what it is. Yeah, for being arguably a large SUV with numerous creature comforts versus, what's an Escalade now? 120?
Probably.
Or something like that, right?
And
I'm not saying an Ascent is the same as an
Tahoe
Escalade.
touches like $100K.
Yeah.
Hey, the Ascent's steering wheel gets hot in your hands.
Can you still get a V8?
Ascent?
No, not in the Ascent. Although that would be sick. LS to World.
Still can't get it in Tahoe.
You still can get a V8 in a Tahoe?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I saw an Escalade the other day with a diesel in it. It's got a...
That was a
current
baby comes. That's brand new.
It was brand new still?
Brand new.
Okay.
Brand new.
I've heard of
diesel
that,
in it.
actually, yeah.
Already in the shop for the sending unit failure.
I know
for
somebody.
the
Yeah, no, I know somebody who's got one of those, and it's the most unreliable thing.
Yep.
They decided they needed that to tow their camper.
She's not even towing. She just likes cool ass cars. And all this kind of business.
Yeah.
And she's had it like a month and it's been in the shop for a month.
I bet you the reason there's a diesel Escalade is that fuel emissions reasons. I bet you that's easier for them.
Yeah, it's probably a truck,
probably
right?
easier.
It's probably friggin'
probably a truck
3/4 ton or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
is there a better car than a 90s 3/4 ton GMC with the big block and the 4L80?
A better car
No,
than that
I
truck?
said what I said. Yeah.
my uncle's
Is there a better buy for the money? I'll put it that way.
My uncle's got one of those. He also has a Chevy, the dually, like a brand new one, like that's 2 or 3 years old.
Brand new Durex.
Yeah. And it's that was expensive. I know it was very expensive.
Sure.
And all the seats get hot and cold and all the things.
Chevys have always been kind of the nice ones in terms, I've thought in terms of like ride.
But he still
comfort
has whatever the thing you were just telling me.
The old 3/4 ton GMC or Chevy. Yeah, those are cool.
Sierra.
Yeah. So you can get those with the. What am I spacing on the motor size in those things?
In Pennsylvania, so that also has lots of holes everywhere. But
it's like a 454, I think, in those things with a 4L80, fucking 3/4 ton rear axle, 8 lugs.
Yeah,
sick. You get ambulance doors on your Suburban still, I think, probably with those guys. Yeah. I know a guy that tows his race car currently with one with a Detroit locker in the back, and it does sick burnouts when he's doing like recce and stuff.
The ambulance? Or the truck?
It's not an ambulance. Oh. It's got ambulance door. Ambulance doors is the ones that open like this. Oh. If you're listening to this, it's sidey instead of uppy downy.
Okay.
So yeah, like a normal tailgate or lift gate or whatever like that versus ambulance doors. Ambulances do not make. Well, okay.
Did you do recce in a
semi?
We're
wandering in. Huh?
Would you do recce in a semi?
Yeah, absolutely.
Reconnaissance on.
Yeah. I know a guy that uses his.
I do too.
Krishna runs his Ford Transit for recce, right? Yeah. I've done recce with 55 gallons of E85 in the back of my truck just to make it ride better. Yeah, I would recce a semi for sure. No, I would feel bad for the truck. I would rather rent the car. I don't want to beat the truck up doing that. If it was like not Raleigh, Colorado, probably I'd recce it. Raleigh, Colorado, rent a car. Rent a car for recce. Raleigh, Colorado. There's your
stages on Raleigh.
This is still a motorsport podcast. Rent a car for recceing Raleigh, Colorado, and get the insurance.
And get the insurance.
People say to me, "You recce with your vehicle?" And I'm starting to Outback.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, I've had to fix tires on it constantly.
Yeah, whatever. Crosstrek is the most comfortable recce vehicle we've ever used. AC, blasting, super comfortable. I got like 35 miles to the gallon during recce too. Cuts down on those fuel expenses for the race.
Mm. Yeah. No, and like a Crosstrek Wilderness would be a phenomenal recce vehicle. Mm-hmm. Or an Outback Wilderness. I think it'd be fun.
No, they work. They work.
Wilderness though. Yeah. Just waste some money.
Maybe.
Get two old Crosstreks for the price of one new Wilderness, and then just have one as a throwaway.
All right. So as we're winding down, the question for the comments is, what is the car market doing? Where are we going as enthusiasts? Are we looking towards actually just buying the Halo car now and looking at the used market and just accepting the fact that we're going to have to take out a second mortgage to buy the car that we want? Or are we looking back to the olden days, the good old days, if you will, to find the old car that you want to put some money into and make it build your dream car still? Like what makes sense now? It's a hard question.
What if instead of a Solara for the summer, I bought an automatic VB WRX?
An automatic? Why automatic? Why do you say that?
Because I cannot find an automatic. I'm sure this is probably some of the dealership, and I could make them.
It'd be a CVT car, right?
Yeah.
And because it's turbo, it gets the upgraded CVT.
Yeah. No, it doesn't get a CVT. It gets a Subaru performance transmission.
That's right.
Is that not the same thing?
Yes, it's the same thing.
Is it the same thing?
Yes,
okay, cool.
It's. I think it's basically the exact same mechanical as the Ascent transmission, but it's tuned different. Like the computer is different.
And there's belt tension, so it's a little bit higher belt tension, and then the fluid. There's like
they use the same fluid as Ascent.
Then it's the high torque
CVT
fluid.
High torque fluid. Yeah, but it's also 1,200 pounds at least lighter than an Ascent, and therefore the transmission's probably not going to fall out of it like they kind of do on the Ascents.
I want to say it's like 1,500 pounds lighter.
Maybe probably Ascents are 4,500. So. I bet you the automatic WRX is probably like 33.
A Solara or an Auto VB.
Yeah.
I hate both of those cars.
I saw a statistic.
So here's the thing. I haven't driven a Solara. I've driven a V6 Camry of the same generation as the Solaras that exist, and they're fine. I haven't driven a VB WRX.
Are you putting a cool tape deck in your Solara?
It
probably comes with a cool tape deck.
Does it? I don't know.
I mean, it probably comes with a JBL.
I mean, not
light
tape deck.
flashy.
You know what I'm saying, right? Yeah. Like the full-on like audio shop special. Like leave it in demo mode, so it's constantly doing shit.
Oh, I'm putting my sub box in the back.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, good. That's what I was digging for here eventually. Yeah, the Solara, for sure.
Will there be room with the convertible, though?
Take the convertible mechanism out.
Yeah.
Leave it down all the time. Use that space for more subs. I don't know why people don't come to us for more solutions.
Have I told you guys about what a chuchero is?
No.
Because my mother was driving in New Jersey this past week and sent me a picture of a minivan with a weird contraption on the roof. And it was a slammed, tinted minivan with sick wheels on it. She's like, what is this?
Not ironic.
And I said, that's a chuchero, which is something like 80 kilowatts of subs on the roof.
Oh,
cool. And the cool part is they actually have them on rigs to fold up, and the entire inside of the minivan is usually batteries and amplifiers and inverters and crap like that.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
I have a good 10 in my truck, and the stock sound system in Abby's Forester is just as good.
Yeah.
Which is really obnoxious to me. I spent at least $800 making that sound system really good in there, and her $40,000 Forester has a better sound system.
That's the one thing that I think has really progressed with modern cars.
Subaru still has junk-ass cup holders, though.
Oh, my God.
They're better than the GD cup holders. I'll admit.
All right.
The Halo car of Subarus, the GD, has not good cup holders. But they're not much better.
I've never said this on the podcast before, but cup holders are the bane of my existence.
And we always joke about how that's why cars are bad these days, but also...
Well, maybe.
There's a lot of coffee in the floor of my red car, bro. Just because...
Oh, yeah. So, all right. So, in the comments below, tell me what the hell is going on with cup holders.
The worst cup holder of any car I've ever owned was in my 88 GL because it didn't have cup holders. It had a shelf on the passenger side of the dashboard, and I'm an idiot. And I was like, coffee shelf.
Yeah.
I have in the Legacy, which is a stripped first-gen Legacy, a magnetic wireframe cup holder just stuck to the top of the tunnel, and it is the best cup holder I've used so far.
So I had a 2000 Land Rover Discovery that had, I actually had to put in the Land Rover accessory cup holders, but they were amazing because they had a cutout in the side.
For the handle?
Yeah, for the handle of your.
Oh, and the Legacy has that too,
which was amazing. But those cup holders fit everything. Yeah. Modern cup holders, they fit nothing. I cannot find I found one coffee thermos thing that will actually fit in one of the cup holders. The BMW, nothing fits. Even driving the Subaru, like the pop out cup holder in the center.
Yeah, it's bad stuff.
You try the cup holders in the 2010 Outback, they are perfect.
Really?
It doesn't have as many as
when Subaru peaked.
Yeah, 2010 Outback.
Yeah.
No, two in the center and then one in each door.
Why can they not decide this is the size that a cup holder needs to be? And they clearly they've
sounds like some big government stuff you're pushing for there.
Well, but here's the confusing thing. Yeah. Go to the fast food place of your choosing and get a drink. And I could pretty much tell you from my experience, you can get small, medium, or large. All three of the sizes, they will fit into the cup holder. So this is only a problem with the thermos cups or whatever, because the manufacturer
it's 2024. Either you got a Stanley or you got to get out.
They look like they're going to fit.
Here's the problem, and this is also why there's $1.5 trillion of car debt in this country.
Because Stanleys.
No, kind of.
The Stanleys.
So if you are making coffee at home and putting it in a thermos mug and driving to work with it in your cup holder, you are in the minority of Americans. The majority of Americans
just have your damn avocado toast like a good millennial and keep your debt.
No, the majority of Americans get their coffee at McDonald's or 7-Eleven or something like that.
That's not
vast majority. I swear to God,
that's not coffee.
I know. I think McDonald's coffee probably has the most caffeine of any coffee.
It is still. I mean, it's always been like the number one selling coffee in America, just because it's convenient everywhere. Yeah. But
it's like
more than Starbucks even anymore.
Oh yeah, McDonald's sells way more coffee than Starbucks because you got every single working class person in this country sitting in their truck in this McDonald's drive-thru in the morning.
It's just it's not the same. If you go down the road of single cup pour over. You cannot.
Oh, I know it's not the same. I have a dude.
But so once you go down that road and you're like, oh, this is what coffee can be. You drink all that other stuff. And this is basically like This is like dirty water.
So you ever listen to you've listened to Car Talk, obviously. You know how much those guys talk about having the cappuccino in the morning. I'm gonna tell you, like cappuccino every freaking morning. Yeah. I got the foamer, I got the cappuccino, got the espresso machine, got the cinnamon.
Once you know what that is, then you cannot not make your own coffee. And then once you do that, you don't want to make just a this. You want to bring in like I want 2 cups of coffee. It's got to be in a thermos mug, and then I cannot put it in anything. In the BMW, my strategy is I actually take my coffee mug and my water bottle, and I put my backpack in front of it, and I use the seat belt to squeeze them into the seat. And then I hope that they don't tip around, because none of the cup holders will hold anything.
You paid $40,000 for that convenience.
No, this is BMW.
Oh, okay.
No.
You paid BMW money for
ironically, the Tesla, it doesn't fit anything either.
Okay, so you still paid $40,000 for that convenience.
I did. For that inconvenience.
And that's why America's falling apart right now.
I think, really, we cannot figure out the cup holders, and that is eroding the fabric of our society.
Do you know why?
Because there's a lot of frustration of, like, I cannot put the cup
So it's still a motorsport podcast, so I'll give some motorsport hot tips here. If you daily your race car and you have a roll cage, go pick up a roll cage mount swivel cup holder from, like, four-wheel drives. Because, like, the off-road community has figured out how to keep your beer while you're wheeling and not have it spill when you're like flopped on the side waiting for your buddy to switch over and stuff. Go get a swivel one. Hey, when you're canyon carving, it'll still swing out when you pull those 2Gs.
Yeah,
and it's like
rally cars race cars, rally cars especially have good cup holders.
Well, a rally car because you have to live in that thing all day.
You got to bring water. So, you got to put it somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
I was just talking to someone about this recently. Yeah. Wow, like hill climb car is not a convenience car. Rally car is basically a camper on wheels that does jumps.
Could be, should be.
Hill climb car has no creature comforts, and so like it's even to the point I need to figure out a solution for like where to keep my sunglasses while I wait at the top to finish my run, because I don't have a provision for storing those in the hill climb car. But if you're not a Spartan hill climb car guy and you just have a daily race car, go get one of those like roll bar clamp swivel cup holders. It doesn't fit a Stanley either, but you know it'll fit a can.
I just don't understand how they can't figure it out, because all of the fast food cups fit in the cup holders. Why are
we could have a conversation about why capitalism is toxic and all sorts of stuff like that, but
it's like they should be working with the same numbers. Like, why can they not figure this out?
I guarantee you, when every however many years that McDonald's revamps their cup, that they do market research.
You're
right. The cup
it's
holders.
Probably the restaurants that have figured it out, and not the car companies.
Yes, I bet you even the taper of the cup is designed to maximally fit in every cup holder.
100%.
And to give you minimal amount of.
So that's why the supersized ones go like this.
Yeah,
and then go like this.
You get the large, and it tapers out. Yeah. You know that they did that so that it would fit in the cup holder, and it does fit. But then you get the Stanley that does the same shape, and it doesn't fit in anything.
Mm-hmm. So how can we finance cups?
Huh?
How can we finance cups that fit cup holders?
I'm gonna have to. I keep buying all these cups and they don't fit. I mean, yeah. All right, we've gone way far afield. But if you
should just get an SVX. It doesn't have cup holders, so I always carry my coffee in a container that seals, so then toss it in.
I've actually thought of like getting an actual proper thermos that seals. Yeah. And then you could put it on the floor.
This podcast started as friends sitting around talking about amateur motorsports and how to maximize their speed.
And then we got old.
Now we got cup holders.
Yeah, it's because we got old.
We got old.
And we started having kids. Wait.
Yes. I feel seen. Thank you.
I don't have kids. And my cup holders actually fit a Stanley just fine because Dodge. So
maybe I need a truck.
They even adjust really nicely. They go.
Well,
they
the
like ratchet
Forerunner
out.
Has an arm that ratchets. Yeah. So like you can put in a giant thing, or you put in a small thing.
At least we've come past the how do I put this? The device that seemed to be solely designed to inject coffee into the stereo that was in this Honda Civic.
Oh man, the early Subarus too, right? The dash mounted one.
Yeah, that was not great.
Man, you ever try and put like a glass bottle or something in there, like a Coca-Cola or something like that?
Ooh. Rattles around.
And it'll like sometimes go so far it like falls out the bottom of that thing.
Well, you know what's wild is like I realize the value of having a really tight seal on the coffee mug, because if it does rattle around or something like that, the coffee would go straight down the stereo, right into the coin holder and stuff like that. And I think to this day my WRX smells a little bit of coffee.
Oh, I bet you.
And I'm okay with that.
Well, we have
And I
to
know
pull.
why.
We have to pull your center console to put the 6-speed in, and we're gonna find coffee stains down there. I'm
You're
sure.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
I found every single manual, like my Baja, had coffee stains there.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, freaking.
Yeah, it's just
the dirtback did the.
it is the Subaru way.
Too.
All right. Well, winding down. Thanks for listening. Thanks for indulging us. Thanks for your support as always. Check out OTC Racing, Money Shift Rally on all the socials.
Please give us a topic to talk about so we don't talk about cup holders again.
Or
This
if you've solved the cup holder problem, please answer it in the comments below.
That's fine.
And-
Yeah, I'm trying to be more positive.
And if you know what direction the cars thing is going,
How
is it
much-
going to new
yeah.
or used? Like, let us know what you're thinking in the comments below. As well.
Tell us how much you enjoyed this conversation.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for listening. Until next time, stay tuned to Flatirons Tuning. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in to the Flatirons Syndicate Motorsports Podcast. Once again, we'd like to let you know that your support is what makes this show possible. Be sure to check out our online store at flatirons.com for any of your aftermarket or OEM Subaru parts needs. And as always, stay tuned with Flatirons Tuning.